Hi, good evening, everyone. So the topic for us is navigating security and risk in NBFC sector. Sorry for my bad throat. If you have recently, studied about NBFC or the banking industry, RBI earlier used to issue different circular for NBFC and different circular for banks because they were treating those entities as different, and so different circular was issued. But now, if you refer from last 6 to 8 months or within 1 year, whatever the circular RBI is issuing is equally, applicable to both NBFC as well as banks. So now they are treating banks and NBFC similarly on front of security, be it outsourcing guidelines, be it on IT governance, risk and compliance. So the first question, what I have in my mind is for Bhavesh. In the dynamic landscape of NBFC sector, what are the most pressing risk factors that organization must navigate to ensure sustainable growth, and how can this risk be effectively mitigated?
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. So, what I found, because this is the only panel where in this Elets Technology Forum, security will be discussed here. But I also found in a many a speaker in a different panel, especially CTO of Clicks Capital, they have more focused on security risk and compliance. So that first thing is now security, cyber security, and IT compliance and governance is being discussed on every forum, whether it's related to business, whether it's related to a strategy, whether it's related to any other aspect of the organization. So security is now core component of business in every BFSI sector. That's my first submission, and it's good for all security professionals. Now I'm coming on your this question. So when you say growth of business, focus on business, risk and security. So look, I will give you certain perspectives. So in a previous panel, one of the panel member explained like why NBFC is backbone and it's driving the growth to the rural area or semi-urban. So I will focus and I will take some cue from that statement onwards. So I will give you my perspective. Our organization have a very good rural presence and semi-urban or small pockets. So growth of business for a rural side and urban side. So organization need to create a approach of sort of hybrid approach. You cannot penetrate for your business in a rural area the way you are doing your business in a urban area or semi-urban area. So maybe your digital business will do good in your metro or big cities, but they may not work in a rural area or a small town or in a villages. So you have to create a hybrid approach. I will give you example of my organization. So we have very good presence in a rural area. So our one-to-one connect with a rural customer is very good. We have branches in every district in Rajasthan, Jaipur or in MP. Every nook and corner of a district is being covered through Rural Connect. Again, for loan boarding and other aspect, digitization process is there. But the personal connect you have to put on a rural business. But in urban business, we have digital app. Through that digitization, you can onboard your business. Now I am coming on the risk and security part. That is the business landscape organization. It may varies organization to organization. But on security front, so in my thought process, we have to adopt a distributed process for your risk containment of your information. Because the way you are collecting data at a rural side, it will be different from urban side. So sometime in one of our visit, we found like our sales executive is taking hard copy, then scanning. We don't know what we'll do to that hard copy, whether it's being shredded properly or not. So we have to put certain control on that aspect also. So a distributed approach need to be taken to protect your risk related to your data when digitization is happening or whether it's a hybrid approach is being taken care. So that's my submission for
Sure.
your business growth and risk and security.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Bhavish. So, Harish, technological advancements has revolutionized the NBFC sector, but they are also bringing, significant cybersecurity challenges. How can NBFCs proactively address these challenges to safeguard customer data and ensure the integrity of the financial transactions?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Prakash, and thank you for the organization for having me here as a part of this esteemed panelist. There are some knowledgeable people. I'm feeling privileged to share stage with them, especially G. Prakash. So, as you ask, in today's landscape, cybersecurity plays a very important and crucial role in NBFC sector as well, where we need to protect customer information, customer data as well, especially after coming this personal data protection law. So for having this, we should adopt a proactive approach. Starts from robust cybersecurity framework, especially tailored for a NBFC. It should encompass the formation and maintenance of IT, IS policies, SOPs, data classification, access management, incident management, proper BCP and DR planning, etc. And next point must be regular security assessment. This is a very important point. We should perform a regular security assessment like VAPT exercise, holistic cloud security assessment to know the vulnerabilities, potential threats, and loopholes are in information system. This would also facilitates us with the resource optimization and putting effort into a specific area where we need to drill down the things. Next point must be your robust authentication mechanism, wherein you should, implement MFA maybe, ZTNA, or segregation of duties, role matrices, time-based access, need-based access for supply chain management things. This is again a very crucial point. Going forward, you should have implement a proper incident management plan and make a regular check on it. Your incident management plan must contain the roles and responsibility of the stakeholders, the escalation metrics, and it should also define a clear and transparent communication channels between supply chain management, between process owners, and every stakeholders. And it should be checked at a certain frequency. Along with this incident management plans, you must have a CCMP, crisis management plan, and crisis management team who will take care of entire things in case of data breach or any security incident if it gets happens within the organization. Moving to next, you should take a basic approach of a first layer of defense, start from firewall configuration. You should configure your firewall webs in such a way that it should be aligned with your organization goals, and it should also not breach or bypass the standard security standards. So this is a very important thing. You may start with IDS initially and then gradually you may move to IPS, I would say. And moving to next and most important approach is end user education, user awareness and their training. We should promote a culture of user education and user education by floating some security related flyers, phishing drills, phishing simulation exercise, best practices, best internet uses, and acceptable information system uses, etc. Then you should form a comprehensive BCP and DR plan. So before commencing to BCP and DR, you should perform a business impact analysis to know the severity and criticality of your business processes, your business critical applications and modules. By doing so, you can define certain RTOs and RPOs in agreement with the business.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harish. Very well articulated. Karan, over to you. Yeah. So, reputation risk can significantly impact the long-term viability of NBFCs. What proactive measures should organizations take to safeguard their reputation in the face of potential crisis, and how can they rebuild trust and credibility in the aftermath of the adverse events?
Yeah, thank you. Just to kind of introduce myself before that. So I'm Karun. I come from a company called Faircent. I'm representing Faircent is one of the first. We are the pioneers in peer-to-peer lending. Started about 10 years back, right? So the little peculiarity about peer-to-peer lending is that on for us there is not just the customer who is the borrower. There are also customers like who are coming and investing their money, right? So when you talk about reputation risk, right? So it's not just the borrower who is the customer, but if we have investors coming in and they have certain issues in with respect to the reputation of our company, it becomes even more important, right? Because they will not trust us to put their money on a platform. So hence reputation risk can be like different for different kinds of organizations. For us, it's a little different, right? See, fundamentally, like when we talk about risk is about uncertainty, right? Like so, when we talk about okay, what is the credit risk? The risk is that okay, the borrower will not pay back the money, right? So there is that uncertainty. So it's the uncertainty which is kind of creating the risk, and the more you reduce the uncertainty, the more you reduce the risk. So you can apply that same yardstick to look at reputation and reduce the uncertainty in terms of how you are managing your reputation, right? Like if you look at it from a marketing standpoint, there is a fairly evolved science, right, which is called reputation management, right? So there is also nowadays a new aspect to it, which is called ORM, which is online reputation management, right? So it fundamentally starts from first understanding what are the touch points which you have with the key stakeholders which are creating this reputation for you, right? So if you have online touch points, you have offline touch points, they're all going and creating a certain image for you in the mind of the customer, right? The customer is communicating with you and is expressing certain emotions, expressing certain needs, certain desires. So you need to be able to listen to them and understand, like uh, is the communication which is happening is helping you increase your reputation or reduce the reputation, right? So I think like I don't want to take too much time. I think we have only 3 minutes left. But fundamentally, like with technology, there is a lot of things which you can use to understand how your organization is behaving across multiple touch points, and how they are amplifying the reputation, and really understand around that and improve the processes to help you to manage the reputation better. Right.
Thank you. Thank you, Karun. So, Sunil, so over to you. Talent acquisition and retention are very critical for success of any organization, be it NBFC or any other organizations. But in this particularly a competitive market environment, when NBFC is struggling, it's competing. How can organizations develop robust human capital strategy to attract and retain top talent, and foster a culture of risk awareness and drive sustainable growth?
Okay. So, good evening, everyone. People on the dice and off the dice, designatories. So, by covering that point, first of all, we have to understand the landscape of cybersecurity. So, while we are start talking about the cybersecurity, so cybersecurity is going to take care by implementing a robust strategy and policy first in place, and then it's followed by a proper regular risk assessments by performing a penetration testings or a vulnerability assessments, and followed by a gap assessments around the systems. And you can divide your technology space or a security space in the multiple layer. For example, there is endpoint security or a data center security, and data center security starts from a firewall, then window application firewalls, followed by EDR tools and the SOC centers. It's a very important SOC centers while you're speaking about the security. So, and then followed by a proper feedback or response mechanism if any incident happens. So, for example, first of all, we have to detect and then response. So response planning is really important. While it's you are start talking about the day zero, so you cannot wait for that particular day. You have to prepare yourself prior to that. How can you what exactly a policy on that particular thing? In manner, how can you going to isolate the resources? How can you contain the outsider threat actors? Those are attempting that particular thing, and followed by further things. While you are talking about the talent, yes, for a NBFC, most of the NBFC they outsource their technologies, so they have to take a experts landscape in sense of SOC services is passed on to the managed teams. Like just I have to take example. If you have a partner, a cloud partner, AWS or Google, there is a lot of security companies. Those are managing that particular thing, and they are the good practitioners. Maybe a 500, 600, or 900 practitioners for that particular thing, security practices. If you are saying you have to build an in-house team for a security aspect, so as per best of my understanding, it's a wrong practice, because you are not take advantage of the subject matter expert on that particular line. That's it.
Since our time is getting over and our panel has summarized on, Bhavesh talked about the challenges, Harish talked about measures, he talked about, Karun talked about reputational risk and talent. Now, just since we are at the time of closing, some closing remarks, 1 or 2 points each.
Okay, so let's start with me. I will just add what Harish just said, like all security controls. So technology implementation is very important aspect, and awareness is also equally important. Well, Harish already explained well, but I would like to explain or add one more dimension, that is that phishing simulation. 70% cyber breach happen because of lack of awareness and successful execution of phishing through email or through SMS in the organization. So organization must adopt a process to train or give awareness to the employee to counter the risk related to phishing. That's the first point. Second point I'd like to add here on a same control perspective. Look, security controls are improving day by day. So target is the user. And even weakness or some gaps in our technology and identification or testing of that technology is very important. So nowadays, organizations are also adopting a new way, that is breach and attack simulation. That is very important. Every BFSI organization should conduct. Some of the organizations I know, their board has mandated like you must conduct BAS activity once in every quarter. But I will not give you any frequency, but you must conduct breach and attack simulation in your organization. That will improve your health to counter any kind of breach. Look, you cannot, sometime it's like you cannot protect yourself from the breach, but you can ready yourself to counter that breach. You can recover your organization in a faster way. So breach and attack simulation give you a sort of training to the technology people as well as that business, to give the sense or your confidence, like if any adverse scenario comes in organization, how quickly you will recover. So, and security is very important these days now. So whatever all our esteemed panel members explain, we have to adhere that, like SOC, reputational risk, very important these days. Yeah, thank you.
Harish, closing point, 1 or 2 points, just scripts.
Just want to add one more point here is threat intelligence. Our internal SOC team or InfoSec team must take feed from threat intelligence and SIM implemented. This is very important, and we should also review the logs on daily basis, like DB logs, modification logs, or any such suspicious query or any such query which results in modification or updation of existing table must be taken care on priority. This is very important and very ad hoc step.
Karun.
Yeah, so I think I would say awareness is key, right? And like given my past experience, what I've learned is that people tend to imbibe stuff which they enjoy, right? So if you can gamify some of this stuff for your end users, it leads to much faster penetration of awareness. Just one point I wanted to make.
So
So, for example, always there is a stick. Okay, if you don't do this, this is the punishment, right? But if you do this, this is like a game. Play it, enjoy it, uh, and that create awareness using that mechanism. It will really help in your organization.
So from my end, so first of all, security is not a add-on product; it's a main product. Or obviously, all the designatory covered that particular point. Awareness and training is a rarely must. So that's the another point. And while you are talking about practices, whatsoever compliance or regulators are saying, for example, there is a PCI for a card industry, or there is a ISO standards, or JDPR, or PDPD. So all these are not a tick in the box things. So we have to follow all such things spiritually to covering the entire loop for security standpoints. That's my point.
okay. Thank you all panelists for your inputs and feedbacks. And NBFC is a significant industry. That is why IDRPT, which is the training arm of RBI, is first time conducting CISO forum for NBFC sector. They were conducting it for banks for the last 10 years, I know. But for the first time, they are doing for NBFC. That means they realizes that NBFC has a significant role to play in the industry.
They are understanding the gravity.
Yeah. Thank you.